Hello and welcome YouTube and Grim Dawn community. Today I'm going to show you one of my latest builds. This is a Chaos Kalastor Deceiver using actually two of the new items from the 1.1.8 patch. So yeah, I hope you're going to enjoy this one. Father Abaddoth, Betrayer of Menhir. That is a new monster frequent. So this one has Veto Chaos Conversion and Chaos Kalastor. And a build around Chaos Kalastor, or rather with Chaos Kalastor, this is gonna be. This is gonna be the Chaos Kalastor / Sigil of Consumption / Doombolt Deceiver, which uses Abaddoth's sermons for Vitality to Chaos conversion on the offhand and also full physical and fire to Chaos conversion to Rune of Kalastor. Combining this offhand with the Mythical Sash of the Bloodlord provides you full global Vitality to Chaos conversion and also up to 60% fire to Chaos conversion. Combining these two build defining items with the Fang of Chthon for the dagger, the Covenant of the Three for the helmet slot, Vestments of Severed Faith as your chest armor, Rift Warped Gloves for your gloves, Fire March for your boots, as well as a Roylak Mark for metal and a Iron Maiden's Shoulder Guard for your shoulder, as well as a Void Heart for one of your rings, will bring this build up to 100% Vitality to Chaos conversion as well as 90% Fire to Chaos conversion, which will result in a pure Chaos Rune of Kalastor sitting at 20 out of 12 points, being supported by a pure Chaos Doombolt sitting at 22 out of 12 points, as well as a basically almost pure Chaos Sigil of Consumption sitting at 17 out of 12 points, with Destruction sitting at 20 out of 12 points. Rounding out this piano build with 22 out of 12 points into the exclusive skill Possession, make this a top tier Chaos caster. The build is able to clear all main campaign content super easily, including any of these high bosses such as Kraval, the Mad Queen and Locksmere.
I mean, I kinda wanna face tank, but then again this is hardcore, and I don't know about face tanking in hardcore. Lol, just face tank. We did put him now. Lol, did I just confuse him with what? Did I just confuse him with my Heart of Gadar? Heart of Gadar confirmed OP against Locksmere. What the heck? Oh, that's actually me.
As well as another new boss that some people apparently seem to struggle against.
Easy clap. Easy kill on myself.
Oh, the duo. Let's see how bad. Oh, what? That's actually. Whoa!
What the fuck?
Whoa! I'm not playing hardcore. Holy fuck!
It features a crazy quick Gargabor kill time.
What the fuck? What's that? Alright, I'm gonna die fast as well, unless I... What the fuck is this kill time, dude? It's crazy.
Which means it also has an easy time killing other dungeon bosses such as Alchemos, or Sharzul.
Let's see if he actually has... Nope, of course not. He of course doesn't have his weapon. But let's see how fast we can kill him at least. And how smooth this is. I mean, this is actually pretty smooth.
Then Eldritch and his councilman.
These guys are pretty easy for this build. I mean, nothing has been not easy so far.
And all of the Morganath dungeon.
Let's see how we fare against the Magi's. Oh, Zephyrus. This is by far the scariest Magi. Because it deals like a shit ton of physical damage, right? Also like... Oh, you got him still? If you get hit by that, you get this Hungry Knight debuff, and you kinda wanna... not get hit by that, but I got hit. Oh well, still kinda smooth. Alright, so this area here is known to be sketchy, and if your build is good, then it can face tank all of this together, right? If it's decent, you don't die. If it's bad, you die, right? What are they doing? Why are they like Rune of Kalastor is so weird, like... the knockdown of Rune of Kalastor is kind of OP against Thresh sometimes, like... Either it's a bug or Kalastor just like permanently like knocking them down to the ground. It's kind of weird. Alright, Morganath. Let's see how we fare against this guy. Oh yeah, this is actually pretty darn fast, right? Lol.
This character is also suited very well for Shadowrun 55 to 51 as well as 65 to 66. Remember that you can always check out the full videos for these runs down below in the links in the description of this video. So if we want to have a character that can farm up your stash with pretty nice legendaries and monster frequents, this build is for you. Also, you can do the same in the Crucible, probably. 150 to 170 should be easy with this character, however, I was not quite able to do that because I did try to kill some Celestials before that. Which went pretty well until a certain Celestial.
You're going to love this.
Yeah, there we go. Oof. What? How? What? Oh my fucking god, fuck your chat. Why am I doing this? More exciting than Crucible after all, eh?
So, since this build is dead, we're gonna check it out again at Grim Tools, right? I mean, this is a Deceiver, so a Deceiver is an Occultist and an Inquisitor. This is the skill point allocation here. You can see that I maxed out Doombolt, I maxed out Destruction, I maxed out Sigil Consumption, at least put this as high as I could. And I one-pointed Solar's Witchfire and Second Right. I also maxed out Possession, like this, Possession, the Sigil, and the Rune of Kalastor, basically like your main skills that this build focuses on. I'm using the Bloody Pox as one-pointers here, because of a amulet that I'm gonna show you later, which gives me like additional chaos resistance reduction towards Bloody Pox. And then I'm also using Blood of the Rig, because, I mean, yeah, every single Occultist in the game should use this ability, it's awesome. OA, health regen, and a heal, and also Aspect of the Guardian gives you Fizz and Poison Rest, and yeah, that's awesome as well. Moving over to the Inquisitor, you obviously want to use Word of Pain's Death Sentence for chaos resistance reduction. Then, just like any Inquisitor, you want to use Word of Renewal, right, for DA and movement speed here and the active heal, flat health and CC resistances on Vigor, as well as Aether and Chaos resistance and damage to Eldritch and Chthonians on C-Resolve. And then you also want to at least put Deadly Aim to 4 points. 4 points is kind of like the new like low investment sweet spot for Deadly Aim. If you would like to rather have this at like soft cap, feel free to soft cap Deadly Aim, it's really good as well. Now the Rune of Kalastor, basically one of the 3 main abilities of this build, right? Rune of Kalastor, maxed out to 20 out of 12. Unfortunately, there isn't like too much gear that supports Kalastor for Chaos, so you can't like quite put this to 22 without like making too many sacrifices, so 20 out of 12 it is here. And actually I found that Ignition is kind of underwhelming for this build, because you don't convert Burn to Chaos, because you cannot convert a dot damage towards a damage type that doesn't have dot damage, right? So this burn would always stay a burn, and because of that I just left it as a one-pointer, honestly, because maxing out or like soft capping artifact handling did give me like better results than like soft capping Ignition with like only one-pointing artifact handling. So yeah, artifact handling does give you more damage modification towards Kalastor, which is basically like multiplicative, a multiplicative damage boost, and also less recharge and also more crit damage. Also, since this is basically a face tank caster, you obviously want to max out Inquisitor Seal as high as possible. 14 out of 12 isn't very high though, so the seal is not quite as good as it could be on some other Inquisitor builds, but it's still obviously very solid and needs to be maxed out nevertheless. Also a 1-pointer into Arcane Empowerment, just for the percent all damage and crit damage here. Like a 1-pointer is fine, putting more points is not really worth it in my opinion. And last but not least, this build also uses Horn of Gandar, which ever since the last patch now reduces all enemy damage, not only physical and elemental. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty decent actually. It's, I would say, very good for builds that don't have this type of debuff yet. And yeah, a Deceiver does actually not have reduced target's damage as a debuff yet, so Horn of Gandar it is. This also applies damage debuff in an AoE around you, so like all enemies around you will be affected by this debuff. So that's really great actually, especially in AoE scenarios like the Crucible or some SR shards as well. Let me also quickly show you the devotions here. So I actually am not going for Abominable Might, even though this is pretty popular with Chaos builds nowadays. Mainly because this mostly gives you flat Chaos, additionally to the Chaos percent damage, right? So you kinda use this devotion's full potential if you're playing with lots of weapon damage. I do have a little bit of weapon damage on Doombolt and the Horn of Gandar, but I don't think that's really like worth it going for Abominable Might. Instead, I obviously still went for Hungering Void because this is more percent Chaos damage. That was really great. And then instead I tried to fit in some stun res through Chariot, the stun res the stun res node over here, as well as the stun res node over here on Empty Throne. And then I have the Flat RR through Tip the Scales. This also helps me with Energy Leech actually. The build does need some energy, and if you don't use Tip the Scales or like Viper on top, it's kinda like iffy with energy, like you might run out of energy if you don't use these devotions. But yeah, these help you a lot with energy, and if you use these you don't have any energy problems. I mean, other than that, Chariot also provides you with a bunch of OA and like a small heal and armor buff here, but I mean this is kinda whatever. And then we also use Oclane's Lantern as a tier 2. Pretty nice whenever you're using a offhand or scepter or dagger, pretty nice stance all around. Then we also obviously have the Eldritch Fire devotion, or like the Solar-Switch Blade devotion rather, with the Eldritch Fire proc, which has 35% Chaos Resistance reduction, which is a basically must-have for any Chaos build. Then I'm also using the Bat devotion, mostly for the Twin Fangs proc, which is a huge amount of lifesteal considering the low cooldown of this, and also this deals Vitality and Pierce damage, and we convert all of the Vitality to Chaos, and also a big chunk of Pierce to Chaos, about 50 to 60% with the Fang of Chthon, right? And the remaining devotions are kinda only filler devotions like Viper, Stag, Panther, Eel, are pretty much filler devotions thrown to a certain extent as well, but you kinda also want this for the stun res actually. Panther giving you OA, Eel giving you dodge chance and pierce res, and the Stag giving you fizz res here and some pierce res as well. And the Viper providing you some like offensive ability as well as some energy leech as well as vitality resistance. I wouldn't say these devotions are set in stone and like BIS like they are. These worked for me pretty nicely and I think they're pretty good. If you have a better idea for devotions though, feel free to use your idea instead. I'm open to suggestions as well and would like to test and implement your suggestions if my character was still alive. When it comes to attributes, I mean, physique and spirit is all you need, right? You don't want to put any points of the cunning on this build actually. You just want to put as many points of the spirit as you need for the offhand to use. So like around 724, I think I actually had like a little bit more spirit in-game here, that's why I didn't need to like put 724 here. And then, yeah, like the remaining points just go all into physique, because your HP is kind of low as a Deceiver, and I mean, 3k DA is really good. Like you could drop a little bit physique here when it comes to DA, but when it comes to HP, yeah, you kind of want to have this amount of HP, right? Now let's check out the gear of this build. Now aside of the Abaddoth Sermon's offhand that I'm using here, which actually has the demonic prefix and of the void suffix, the demonic prefix giving me +2 Sigil of Consumption on top, which is actually really great for this build, as well as the Sash of the Bloodward for the conversion that I talked about earlier, right? You also use the Fang of Chthon here for Pierce to Chaos conversion, which helps out with the Bat Pierce to Chaos conversion, and also this one gives you +1 Occultist, +1 Possession on top of that, % weapon damage to Doombolt, CDR, % Chaos damage, and also the Mark of Chthon, which has 15% Chaos RR. Honestly, this weapon is crazy and kind of reminds me a little bit of the Wrath of the Ascendant, which used to be an insane one-handed Aether weapon some patches ago, which just completely dominated all other one-handed weapon options for Aether, and this Fangathon kind of feels the same way for Chaos. So since Chaos damage has become better and better over the last couple of patches, I think maybe the Spark of Chthon should be nerfed, maybe like down to 10% RR instead of 50%. I kind of feel like the weapon is a little bit too strong right now, but yeah, that's just me. For the rings, this build is using a Void Heart, as well as a Mythical Combustion Band. Both have another like Chaos Resistance Reduction proc, right? Combustion is minus 8% Chaos RR, and Void Heart is 10% Chaos Resistance Reduction. And also Void Heart does convert Fire to Chaos additionally globally, so together with the Sash of the Bloodlord, we have like up to 90% Fire to Chaos global conversion on top. Now to round out this build and also support Doombolt a little bit more, we are using the Covenant of the Three, for +1 Oathkeeper, Recharge to Doombolt, and also the Black Flame proc, which has a OA and DA reduction proc. For the gloves, I'm using Mythical Rift Warped Grasp, which is basically the best pair of gloves for Doombolt builds. For the boots, I'm using Mythical Final March. Final March makes a return here on this build with +2 to Resolve and +2 Rune of Kalastor, mostly supporting the Kalastor here as well as Chaos Res, Aether Res, Slow Res, and the A and Fizz Res. That's pretty huge on a blue pair of boots. For the pants, I'm actually using another new item. This is Anasteria's Legguards, and I was using this because I got the Demonic prefix, which also has stun resistance reduction on it. Of Thorns is just like physical retaliation, so that's obviously useless. So yeah, if you have like a better pair of pants of these, feel free to use them instead. There are also like many other options here actually, so feel free to use whatever fits your build, fixes your resistances, has good affixes, etc. For the metal, I'm using Rylock Mark. This one will support Sigil of Consumption a little bit more, also +3 to Destruction is really good. And I mean, yeah, I have a Mighty of Supremacy here, which is obviously not best in slot, but it's pretty decent, gives you like lots of physique, which is also lots of health and defensive ability actually. This is just a really great meta for any build that is using Sigil of Consumption. For the Relic slot, I'm using the Ignite Force Combustion, which has +1 Inquisitor and also a bunch of Chaos damage. But more importantly, it has the Ignite Force Combustion proc, which has another 10% Chaos Resistance reduction. Alternatively, especially when you're playing hardcore, you can also always use Serenity. I mean, this build not having Serenity might be one of the reasons why I died with it again, but then again, if you take a look at the Ravager kill, or rather him killing me, I don't think Serenity would have actually saved me there. Ignite Force Combustion is probably also fine to use in hardcore. Just don't die to Ravager, right? The amulet slot is actually pretty flexible. You can either use the Conduit of Eldritch Whispers with the +1 Ocultist and the Chaos Resistance Reduction roll to Bloody Pox, or you can also use the Conduit of Runic Whispers and then combine this with the roll on the Inquisitor Seal, which gives you 10% Chaos Resistance Reduction Inquisitor Seal. Using this one instead would shuffle points a little bit around from Ocultist over to Inquisitor, which is fine. You would just have to like relocate some skill points, that's totally fine. But also this would mean that you don't have to use Wasting anymore or like Bloody Pox at all anymore, which means one less button on your bar. And also Inquisitor Seal will get a red Chaos glow instead of the blue glow that it usually has, so this will basically fit the theme even better for like role-playing purposes. I would always go for this one over the one that I'm actually using here in this build. The Eldritch Whisper one does, however, give you 5% additional Chaos RR. Also for shoulders, I'm using Iron Maiden's shoulders, and I got these insane ones here, which I also lost with the character. But yeah, these are insane, formidable of the Cabal. If you have these rolls, use it immediately. If you don't, use whatever you would like to use here instead. I think Iron Maiden's shoulders are pretty good here because of +3 Rune of Kalastor and also because of affixes that you can roll, which can get pretty crazy. But if you don't have those, I mean, feel free to use any other like Chaos shoulder that you have or like defensive shoulder that you have that provides you with like good stats as well. And for the chest, I'm using Mythical Vestments of Severed Faith because these are, as a standalone, probably the best Chaos just on the game. Also +3 Doombolt does help out maxing Doombolt, and the Severed Faith toggle also gives me pretty good Aether Res as well as like % Chaos damage. And yeah, the chest itself also has insane offensive ability and also Fizz Res and Pierce Res and Trap Res, so yeah, it's really good actually. So since the character is dead, there's unfortunately no more content I can show you, but you can always check out the other videos for like the full SR run, the full Mogdrogan kill, the full Ravager death, and also like the first time local kill, bourbon kill are on YouTube, as well as full videos down in the description below. Also check out for leveling, if you want to level this build, my speed leveling videos for the Chaos Caster Deceiver. Also, if you like my content, a like and a subscription is always appreciated. And if you like my content even more, feel free to check out my Patreon link down below, where you can also become a patron right now. Patreon is, after all, basically the best way to support me, because I get the most out of the money that you basically are willing to pay for me, as it takes a smaller cut than, say, supporting me on Twitch via like subscriptions or bits and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you around on my next video or my next stream. Take care guys, and see you around.